Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to do a video comparison between these ANA Rush pants and these G3 cut pants, and I'm going to be saying cut because these pants are not the actual Crye Precision G3 pants. I personally think they're too expensive, but at any rate, I wanted to mention a few differences between the cut of these and kind of how they fit compared to these ANA Rush pants. And the things I'm going to be talking about are all about fit, pretty much, and how things are laid out. So the exact material, I'm not going to be comparing the exact material, hence why it works perfectly fine for me to just be referencing these knockoffs. But just wanted to get that out of the way very first, in case any of you were expecting an actual comparison with Crye pants. So, getting started, on the outside, or on the exterior, these ANA Rush pants do look very similar to the G3 cut. The knee pad holes to put your knee pads into the pants are in the exact same spot. They attach the same way. You just push this away and it's just Velcro on the inside, and then you would put your knee pad in with the Velcro around the edges, and it sits all the same way. I've tried this before. Of course, I don't have the knee pads in it right now, but that is how it would work. Completely the same there. However, some of the differences arise with where the pockets are located. From the bottom, you have these sort of, I don't know what you'd call these like calf pockets. I don't ever use these on either pants, either the G3 cut or on these ANA Rush pants. However, they are there. These are pretty much the same on both, but the rest of the pants, but the rest of the pockets are where the differences arise. So the first major difference, and kind of the one that bothers me the most on these Rush trousers or pants, is these front pockets. So these pockets are located in the same spot as on the G3s. However, on these, the difference is on the G3 cut, you would have your adjustment for where the knee pad sits. You would kind of push in a knob, I don't know what you'd call it, and you'd adjust it, and it would move the knee pad either up or down to get it right where you want it. However, on these, the adjustment is not here. Instead, the adjustment on these pants is in these top pockets. Okay, so after recording that segment, I found out a little bit more about these sorts of pants and about the earlier generation Crye Precision pants. And if anything, I would actually say that these ANA Rush pants or trousers are more of a closer analog to the earlier generation Crye, maybe the first generation. I'm not too familiar with the differences between those, but this does seem like an earlier generation. So what I was saying earlier about how it adjusts is right here, just like this. This actually is not like how the G3s adjust, which I'll show in just a sec, or the G4s. They're both very similar in that regard, but the ANA Rush trousers and earlier generation Crye pants do adjust from here, and this is just kind of a buckle, whereas, like I was saying, the G3 ones are quite different, and the G4s, whereas they have a bungee here that you just kind of pull, just like so, to tighten it and loosen it, all of that. So this uses kind of an actual like elastic cord, whereas these use a more stout piece of fabric that runs all the way from the knee pad up to here, which I do think is, as I was kind of mentioning, is a much less comfortable design. But anyway, let's get back to the video. One on both sides, and it pretty much adjusts the same way in there. However, I don't really like that because it's a lot more awkward. I use these top pockets a lot more than I use these pockets, so it kind of gets a lot more awkward because I'm reaching into these pockets way more to grab something, and things keep getting snagged on the kind of pull cord there. And speaking of these top pockets, but also we do have these side cargo pockets as well. They are all angled on these ANA Rush pants. They are all angled towards the rear or towards the back of your legs, which is really weird. I always have found it awkward when I've been wearing these pants, and I've had these for a few months now, so I've been using them quite a bit, and it's just weird. Everything that you put into these pants kind of ends up towards the bottom. So if you go to like crouch, for instance, or if you're sitting in a car, everything ends up underneath you, and it can get really uncomfortable if you go to crouch and there's just something kind of digging into this part of your leg, which is not the case with the G3 cut, the actual G3 cut. On these, all of the pockets are angled towards the front, or pretty much exactly on your side in the case of these side cargo pockets. I'm not really sure why on these rush pants, why they decided to go with angling all of the pockets towards the rear. I think that's pretty weird, and I'm personally not a fan of it. So that's just a big point I would say to keep in mind if you're considering getting these A&A rush trousers. Otherwise, all the other adjustments on these A&A rush pants are pretty much the exact same as on the actual G3 cut. Down here you have an adjustment for how tightly this fits to your calf. You have this piece of Velcro here to adjust where the knee pad sits side to side. And everything else is located exactly the same, which is nice, but it's just those little things like having the adjustment for how high your knee pads sit up and down, being in your top pockets, and having all your other pockets located towards your rear or towards the back is pretty uncomfortable in my opinion. And one more thing I do want to mention is these rush trousers are the analog, closest analog to the G3s. I do have a pair of, again, these are not actual Crye. I like this camo pattern, and the G4s that Crye offers are only available in multicam, but this is a pair of G4 cut pants. There's a lot of differences between the G4s and G3s, which I won't get too into here. If any of you are interested, let me know. I can always do a video on that. But one of the big differences is like G4s have a bunch of zippers instead of Velcro everywhere, whereas the G3s, including these rush trousers, everything is Velcro on all the pockets and all that, and a bunch of other differences. But yeah, pretty much the A&A rush trousers, aside from those differences that I mentioned, are more or less G3s. One big difference is the price point on these rush trousers is about $100, whereas G3s are a lot more. I think the last I checked they were like $250, maybe $300. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put that up on the screen. But you could get pretty much 3 pairs, more or less, of these rush trousers for the price of just 1 pair of actual Crye G3s. So that is a plus, but on the other hand, these knockoffs, both of these that I have, were also $100 each. Now on that note, you are going to get a quality difference. After this in the video, I will test. I know on these specifically, one issue these do have, which makes sense because they're cheaper, so some corners would be cut. One big difference is that this stretchy part here, I think spandex-ish sort of thing, this part on these knockoff Crye G3s does reflect IR, whereas on the actual Crye G3s, I believe they've treated the entire thing with, or the entirety of the pants with like a anti-IR reflective coating, something like that. I'm not actually sure on that. If any of you do know, then feel free to let me know. But these certainly do reflect a lot. It's only on this part though, luckily the rest of the pants don't do that. But yeah, I'm going to test this now, or actually later, but for all of you it'll be now. I'll test these rush trousers under IR and see if they reflect anything. And yeah, these do have the kind of stretchy part as well on this. It's a bit harder to see because it blends in a lot better with this color of OD than it does on this woodland one, but let's get to that now. Alright, so hopefully you're able to see these pants here that I'm wearing. This is kind of a really jury-rigged setup, so I'm kind of moving back and forth in case I am not in the view of the camera. And as you can see, I'm actually really impressed. I already checked these off camera. These have no IR at all, and that is a big problem with those Elite Tribe ones that I keep kind of bringing up, those knockoff Cryes, is they do reflect IR like crazy on this part right here, on the stretchy part, whereas these are just totally, there is no reflection whatsoever. These are just dark, so that is awesome. Of course, I don't know how much does IR reflection really matter for most of the usage that someone like me or like most of you watching would put it through. I don't know. That's up for you to determine, but it is nice that these do not reflect IR. In fact, that's a huge plus to these, so that I would say definitely adds a lot to their value. And one more thing, just so you know that there's no actual ambient light and that this really is at night. As you can see here, you can kind of see the sky at the moment, but as you can see, it's really, really dark. So the night vision actually is doing its job. Actually, although I mentioned that all the adjustments on this are otherwise the same as on a G3 cut of pants, I did notice after recording this, I didn't notice when I was recording it originally because I was wearing a belt, but on the actual G3 cut, you have a piece of Velcro here and you can adjust how tight the waist is. There's one on both sides. However, these A&A Rush pants do not have that, so the size you get for the waist is pretty much, if it doesn't fit, or if it's a bit tight, then it's just always going to be like that. And on that note also, I ordered this pair for my size, and actually it came a little bit on the small side, so I would keep that in mind. I don't know if it's just my pair that I got, or if they all kind of run small, but I don't know, just look at other reviews if you're interested in getting these, and keep that in mind, that it might run a little bit on the small side. But yeah, here is the waist adjustment that you can see I'm referring to, so you can just undo that, and you can just make it tighter as you want, or looser. And yeah, there's one here, and then one on the other side as well. So that concludes this video. I did want to mention one last thing, is that although it might seem like I was kind of bashing on these pants, like I had all these issues with like how they fit and the comfort of where they put certain things, it's not, that's more of a personal preference, I think. Probably a lot of you would have a similar preference because that's just how most pants are. Most things are kind of situated more towards the front with pockets and all that. But if you can get over that, these pants are extremely durable. They've held up super, super well. I've been wearing them a lot, especially to the range and going prone and a whole bunch of stuff. And they haven't had any issues with tearing at all. These still look brand new. I mean, there's a little bit of dust on them, but no actual damage whatsoever. So as far as the durability goes in a pair of pants, they are incredible. So far in this video, I've pretty much just, I feel like I've been really focusing on the shortcomings and stuff I don't like about these pants, but let me actually just do a sort of a review on just these pants as they as a standalone sort of product. So first is the stitching. This is something I'm not too familiar with on the real Cryes. I have heard that the Crye stitching uses 10 to 12 stitches per inch. This uses 8. In some places it's a bit less, but generally it looks like it's around 8 stitches per inch from what I was measuring. And that I've heard that doesn't hold up as well for durability, and certainly the more stitches you can get per inch the better, but I haven't had any issues with durability whatsoever, and I've worn these and I've used them pretty heavily. And speaking of the durability, we do have bar tacks on all the edges, as you can see here on the edge of the pocket in all the areas that would need it. We do have those, which is great. The knee pad slots here fit a regular Crye knee pad. A&A makes their own knee pads as well, which are pretty much the exact same. And as you can see here, I've already got the fabric folded out of the way here, exactly the same as it would be on a Crye G3. So all of that works identical, and it works quite well. One more difference I did notice with these that I didn't notice in my initial kind of segment either is the Crye G3s actually have a little bit of stretchy fabric down here at the very bottom where the, I guess the front of the pants you could say meets the rear. Whereas here it just is regular, you know, just like regular pants, it just meets up. So this could potentially rip out. I haven't had any issues with this comfort-wise. I think it's better if you can have it stretchy here, but I haven't had any actual issues with it being like this. And on my Crye G4 clone pants in that JSDF camo, those don't have anything here either. It's only on the G3 ones that I have, and I'm not sure if the real G4s have it, but at any rate, yeah, this one does not have any stretchy fabric here. So that covers everything that I wanted to touch on with these pants. As I was saying earlier in the review, I'm not going to focus too much on the rest of the material here because I don't have anything to really compare it to with real Crye. The fabric seems fine. That's about all I can say for it. It's held up super, super well, but I don't know if it compares or how it compares exactly to the real Cryes. So that's probably something you would have to research yourselves, is like how well does this fabric that they use on these A&A pants work. But as I can say, just in my experience, using these really hard and you know, going prone and all that, as I was mentioning earlier, that these haven't had any ripping. So as far as I'm aware, this seems pretty solid. The only issue I've had is the comfort aspect. So overall, I would say it's kind of a mixed bag. If you can get over this, like I was saying, then by all means, if the pocket situation doesn't bother you, I would say these are a phenomenal pair of pants. But with that, thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next one. Take care.